hadn't been honest with your relationship with that you've had prior to working with the people.
Right.
It's like he's been a con or a daggum hoax all his life, to the degree of not being totally honest with the American people.
Yeah. I told people he was obliged instead of Clinton.
And I don't think I've ever heard that through any kind of commentary on TV, because it's something that I guess is either unpopular or just people don't believe or people don't want to believe. You know what I'm saying? Because Bill Clinton, before Monica Lewinsky, he was admired almost like being one of the best presidents of the United States.
Yeah.
And I guess if the Lewinsky deal never did come out, he would probably still be looked upon as being top-notch, one of the better presidents of the United States.
Hey, I like Bill Clinton myself.
Well, he was a talker. He could talk you into buying a rotten watermelon, and it tastes good before you ever got it home.
Right.
He was a con. He was a con. I don't know if he was a con artist, but he was a con. And most politicians are cons.
Oh, yeah.
They're nothing more than cons.
Yeah.
In other words, they'll convince you of something that is totally not true, knowing good and well that what they're telling you is a lie, but because people want to believe in this politician so badly, that's who they're going to believe in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really a matter of people being hoodwinked or bamboozled, and people being deceived by the master deceivers. And boy, has there ever been a bunch of them in the past 40 years, ever since the assassination of Kennedy and the assassination of Martin Luther. This country, man, has absolutely sold itself out to the devil, as far as I'm concerned. All these politicians that come from all these other countries that come over here, that basically give big money for their funds and everything. You know, they're like lobbyists or whatever. And then they come over here and they have a footing, and now they can tell people like the president of what's going to pass and what isn't going to pass as far as legislation.
Right.
Did you know that America is one of the only places that you can come to as a foreign citizen and still operate and buy property and act as if that you are a true citizen of the United States?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All these other countries, they won't allow for that.
Yeah.
You actually have to either become a citizen, or you have to dismantle your citizenship with America and marry somebody that is in their country that will be recognized as a citizen.
Right.
To me, that's one of our weaknesses.
Right.
But it's also looked upon as being a strength, because without all the money coming from the foreign governments, from foreign people, this nation would have already done collapse. So you got to look at it from both perspectives on that, pertaining to the foreigners.
Yeah.
Mexico is a negative pertaining to all the illegal immigrants coming over here that don't want to do it legally but want to come over here illegally.
Right.
That's a negative.
China and everybody, all kind of people come over here now.
I know that, but that's still a negative because they're doing it illegally. But now these foreign diplomats that come over here and want to pump out all this money and keep the money flow going, that's actually a positive thing.
Right.
But at what cost? The cost of selling out our dignity.
Right.
Selling out our name.
Right.
And that's an awful high cost, especially If you get enough of them, that's kind of like last year. They claim over 1 million illegals come over the border down on the Rio Grande. Well, you know good and well that those 1 million people that come over here last year, five years from now, it's not going to be 1 million people. They're going to multiply. They're going to multiply like freaking ants. And if the truth be known, instead of it being 1 million people, it's probably going to be more like 1,010,000, maybe even 1,100,000. I don't know, depending upon how badly they want to multiply. But if you get enough of them over here, they can actually take over because they can get involved with the legislation, and the next thing you know, they'll be voting in and out laws that'll be against the American people and for the Mexicans.
Oh yeah.
It was Brezhnev that said we will take the American people over and never fire a shot. You know good and well them people had to have something in mind whenever they said something to that degree. Yeah. We will take the American people over. This was before Gorbachev become president. With Reagan, during the Reagan era, they made a statement that we will take the American people over and never fire a single shot. Right. What do you think they was thinking about whenever they said that? Drugs, buying up all the property, getting people to side to the Russians, pretending to the Russian sympathizers. I could go on and on and on. But it's not just Russia that wants to take over America. It's all the superpowers.
Right.
They don't just want to participate in America's ideals and America's way of life. They want to control us. It's like everybody is struggling towards wanting to be the king of the mountain.
Yeah.
And the mountain is America.
Right.
Did somebody just pull down there?
Yeah. Yeah. They think you'll be. I might go down there parking.
Go down there and help them?
They might be down there parking.
Maybe.
I don't want to cut my light and I'll see what they're doing. Oh, wow. There was 2 women in the bathroom fighting a while ago.
Where was this at?
Right over here.
Right where?
At the bathroom here a while ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a lobby here in a minute.
Yeah. Huh?
There was a lobby here in a minute.
Yeah.
They down there fighting. 2 women.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably cut back and forth. Probably with this fighting back, you know. They probably got into it.
That's what I was telling you the either today or yesterday, that it's going to get to where a good thing like coming and camping, you know, something that the American people has been accustomed to for hundreds of years now, since the cowboy and Indian days, it's going to get to the point that people are going to become so radical and so dangerous, you're not even going to be able to feel safe in a damn ball game.
Right.
Or going to a carnival. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or coming to a place like we're coming to right here pertaining to camping.
You can't go to school no more, not about being shot up.
That's right. And a lot of these children are having bad recourse pertaining to the safety issues because they're being overwhelmed with the internet. They're being overwhelmed by seeing all these massive school shootings and stuff going on. And it's really setting them back. It really is. They're having some very, very deep, complex mental issues with children that has never had any type of mental health issues.
Yep.
Now, apparently you must have had mental health issues in your family beginning with either you or your father or mother before you, right?
What do you mean, man? What are you talking about?
Mental health issues.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Pertaining to you having 3 children that, what do you call them, dyslexias?
Autism.
Autism?
Yeah, but they ain't got nothing to do with me. Ain't nobody in my family like that. We all smart people. It's my ex-wife. Well, that way.
Is that where the gene come from?
I guess. They ain't got me.
Well, now you claim to be, smart, which you are smart as far as common sense, but you have to admit, Danny, you never have learned to read.
Well, you're right. But it ain't.
So in what paraphrase are you calling yourself smart?
I am smart.
You're smart as far as the wisdom from Mother Nature and the wisdom to survive and the wisdom to know right and wrong and good and bad and stuff like that. Well, according to the American standards, that don't count.
Because you can't read, I mean, you're smart. Ain't you smart?
I know that, but I'm just telling you, according to the American standards, if you can't read a book, you're considered not necessarily a dummy, but you are illiterate. And because you're illiterate, that means you have a handicap. If you have a handicap in illiteracy, that means you'll never be able to grow and prosper and become an attorney or a judge or a doctor, because you got to be able to know how to read their manuals and their handbooks. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. But yeah, it come from her side family though.
It did.
Yeah, I done check out my genes. You know, you know.
I know it's really giving you a freaking fit pertaining to having 3 children that's got mental challenges like this. You know it.
Yeah.
They're gonna. It's almost driven you to the point of you having a mental illness, hasn't it?
Well, not really. I mean, they get to me sometimes, but they can't help it. I mean, they can, but they can't.
They can, yes, they can, but they can't. And sometimes you need a break from it. You know?
I don't ever get a break.
You don't ever get a break from it.
Never, ever.
You're married to it. Day and night, night and day.
Right. Mom and daddy and everybody else.
Have you ever found, I'm sure those, your whole family's bound to have social workers, right?
Who? My whole family? What do you mean?
Your sons.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do they have the same social worker?
Yeah.
So they just kind of compiled you guys in a package?
Yeah, they all pack a deal, yeah.
To where each one of you should have your own social worker, because each person is different, and each person's qualifications are going to be different, and each person's level of learning and each person's level of maturity is going to be different. One child may be way 10 years behind the other one, and one child may be to the point that he'll never be able to be reformed. So really and truly, by you putting them all with one social worker, that's kind of unfair, don't you think?
Well, I mean, they ain't that many. Mississippi ain't got that many social workers for people like you.
But you got to admit, Mississippi is like the state of Tennessee. They're behind in their times. The South has always been known of being behind whenever it comes to educational skills. Even going all the way back to the Civil War era, that's the reason why the North basically was dominating the South way before the Civil War, because the North was educated. Who was it that said that the pen is more mightier than the sword? That began over there in England, or over there with a bunch of people that could read a bunch of books. And I think, personally, that you can become an educated fool to the point that even though you may be able to memorize all these different problems and equations, and you may be able to read and spell big words, just because you can do all that don't make you a wise individual, does it?
Nope.
And that's what's happened to America in our politics, is that they have become educated fools, and they have allowed for this now to come upon to our society. And as far as I'm concerned, somebody needs to be held accountable for it.
Oh yeah. Well, like I say, I got a nephew right now. A nephew.
Yeah.
He a psychiatrist right now, doc.
He is.
Yeah.
And if he's a nephew, that means he had to stem off from either one of your brothers or sisters, right?
Yeah, my sister's son.
Your sister's son.
He's psychiatrist.
Right.
So I didn't want to say we got smart people in our family, but
I'm gonna tell you something else about being illiterate. Did you know that a great deal of the mightiest people in America is either borderline illiterate or had trouble being able to pronunciate the vowels in all the English words, because the English is one of the most complicated freaking languages to dissect. Did you know that?
oh yeah, I heard that. Somebody told me that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who it was. Somebody did that.
Ross Perot. He was one of them. But he become a Donald Trump, basically, a multi-millionaire.
Is he dead?
Probably. I'm assuming that he is.
He run the Fed and stuff, and he knew 2 times, I think.
He run on an independent ticket.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the only thing that's going to be able to save America right now, pertaining to our messed up politicians on both sides, Republican and Democrat, is that the only way we're going to be able to pull this off and do it legally without a civil war is to vote in somebody that's an independent, like a Ross Perot, that can mandate change and do it in a professional, logical, legal way.
Right.
Because if you try to break this thing any other way, I mean, they're talking about a president amending the 14th Amendment, which basically means giving everybody the same rights as citizens here in America, but at the same time defaulting on the loan, but not defaulting on your obligations to the loan. I don't know how that they can do that, but you got to admit $32 trillion has become nothing more than a stumbling block, a beast of burden to not necessarily people like me or you, because we've pretty much already lived our lives, but these young children that's growing up, they don't have no future. You know why? Because they had to inherit that $32 trillion. And because they struggle up there in the White House debating and fighting and kicking and stomping and bitching and throwing fits, pointing fingers to one another, they're not coming up with a solution to the problems. A matter of fact, they are the freaking problem. They are the problem. Because they have let it go and go and go, and now it's to the point of no return. They could reform the money currency. First of all, money currency is based off of a belief. It's kind of like a religion. We believe that a $10 bill is stronger than a 5. We believe that a $20 bill is stronger than a 10. We believe that a $100 bill is stronger than a 20. Or 50. You know why we believe that? Is because we've been told that. And we have been told that this is what we are to believe. So in actuality, money, or the formation of money, the way that they do it in America especially, is basically a religion, because it's based upon what you believe. Well, they could call in a note, okay? The president could call in a note tomorrow, and he could tell everybody in America and throughout the world that green currency, after, let's say, the 1st of September or the last of September or October, all green American dollar bills from $1 to $100 to $1,000 will no longer be credited as being any good after September the 30th. They could change the die in the dials up there in Denver, Colorado, that prints out all this money, and start printing it either blue money or yellow money or red money that would basically it would reform the old system pertaining to all the illegal drug trading, all the illegal Mexicans and everybody else coming over here and working for pennies on a dime, basically stealing our labor away from us. All these other cash deals that's going on under the table that Uncle Sam never gets not one penny for, because it's basically being run by the syndicate, the dark money. You could change the money tomorrow, okay? Listen to me, tomorrow. But by doing that, yeah, you put another bigger Band-Aid on the problem. You know why? Because you're still dealing with something that can be altered, or it can be corrupted. That's what's happened to the American dollar bill now. The green dollar bill, it's been corrupted. Yep. A matter of fact, there are some countries, I've been told, I don't know how true this is, and I don't see no need for me not to believe it, that there are some countries that won't even accept the American dollar bill because they say that the American dollar bill is no longer any good as far as the value of it.
Right.
The thing about changing the color of the money, you're opening yourself up for another system that's going to be just as vulnerable as the first system that was based upon the green dollar bill versus the red dollar bill or the yellow dollar bill. You see what I'm saying? You still got a dollar bill out there that's basically untraceable. Untraceable. That means if I stop at your house and you got a for sale sign on your lawnmower, and me and you work out a deal and I buy that lawnmower cash deal, that means Uncle Sam never gets a penny of that.
Right.
Not one dime of that money that got transferred from my hand to your hand. So they're going to have to modify the system, and it's going to have to be modified in a different way other than fumigating a system that can be basically corrupted the way that the old system has been corrupted. And I personally think that they're probably going to go to a digital system to the point that the dollar bill, regardless whether it's a green dollar bill or yellow dollar bill, that dollar bill will no longer be considered active because everything will be either a euro or Bitcoin or some sort of digital currency. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That way, whenever a transaction is made, it don't matter if I'm buying a lawnmower from you or you're buying a lawnmower from me, it will be documented and it can be traced. That means Uncle Sam will come near being able to collect that $30 on that $300 lawnmower, to where if me and you was doing it the old-fashioned way, he never would know about it. Mm-hmm. Well, what's it all based on? It's based upon bartering. And you know how they used to barter? They used to barter one nice goat, billy goat, for 20 chickens.
Yeah.
Why did they barter that way? Because the man with the goat said, my goat is more valuable than just one of your chickens. As a matter of fact, my goat is to the value of 20 of your chickens. Now, if you want my goat bad enough, sir, you will give me 20 chickens for this goat. And that's how they used to barter.
Right.
Once more, some idiot going all the way back to the days of Greece said, the pen is more mightier than the sword. And they alternated a system based upon taxes. Did you know that there was taxes during Jesus' time, 2,000 years? There was taxes back then. And they even asked Jesus about the currency that he looked at the face of it and he looked at the back of it, and he said, what is this? And they told him that it was by King Herod, pertaining to the new bartering system that was coming into play. And what they was doing, they was actually trying to trick Jesus, in Jesus basically becoming a overthrower of the Roman government at that time, that they thought that Jesus would give more reverence to himself than he would the money or that system. You know what Jesus said? He said, render unto the things that be of God to God, and render unto the things that be of Caesar to Caesar. In other words, he went along with the system that certain politicians deserve to take out taxes on the people. That way you can advance, you can build bridges, you can build roads, you can have nice parks, you can have nice waterways. I mean, basically the taxpayers are the ones that fumigated and turned the Tennessee River into a tame river. You know that, TVA.
Oh, yeah.
That was all handled through taxpaying dollars.
Right. I've been going to bed, man. I'm tired.
All right.
And I guess we'll see y'all. Then we move my truck so we can get out. You're going to park down the hill a little bit.
Me?
Yeah.
I guess what I'm going to do is go to the bathroom real quick and get ready to go to bed.